Using social media as you get older is such a wild ride. I remember getting a Facebook when I was in sixth grade, and that was my introduction to the social media world. And it was such an influential tool growing up, and I never really realized how much of a toll and how much impact it had until I got older. In the past decade, social media has become such a giant conglomerate that it is almost part of everybody's lives now. But at the same time, it has also become such a tool for manipulation and just an overall influence on society in general. You have influencers making a living off these platforms, and you have political messages being funneled into people's brains, which turned into arguments and people fighting online. And sometimes social media, most of the time actually, has just ruined a lot of people's lives. And what makes it even worse is that social media is targeting towards younger generations, people that are more prone to strong influencer manipulation, and it can be kind of dangerous. But as you get older, I feel like you're able to understand social media in a different way and really understand its roots. So you're able to kind of deflect a lot of those bad messages and start to find a way to navigate it in a healthier way. So, for today's video in the Free Think Dojo, I wanted to talk about how social media has impacted our lives and just some ways to navigate it in a healthier way. In my 20s, I still find myself sometimes being a slave to Instagram specifically. I've never been able to get into TikTok. My fiance loves TikTok and uses it every day. But for me personally, I find TikTok to be like the ultimate final boss of social medias that I think you should just stay away from. I get overstimulated to begin with. So something like TikTok, where it's just constant video after video after video with nothing else in between, would definitely make me go crazy. But Instagram has always been my guilty pleasure ever since I started using it way back in high school. I love an occasional funny video. I also watch Instagram for like keeping up with my friends and also keeping up with things that I support, but also just like gaming videos and videos of cats or dogs or anything like that. But there was once a time when I first started using Instagram that it almost pretty much took over my life. I used to be obsessed with posting photos that were like aesthetics and just random things, and it would actually influence my day to day mental state. Depending on how many likes I got on a photo would determine if I was having a good day or a bad day. And it wasn't something that went on very long, but it was something like when I first got into college my freshman year, it was something that I kind of got really into because I thought it was fun at first, but then it started to take a toll. There were even times where if I was talking to somebody or had like a girl or like a friend and they didn't like one of my photos, then I felt like I did something wrong or hurt them and they didn't want to do anything with me anymore or talk to me. And that wasn't the case whatsoever. I found myself taking it so seriously that as I look back on it now, it was so stupid, but also I was just so influenced by it more than anything else. So I was fortunate enough to kind of see the bad effects of social media early on because I feel like it gave me the opportunity to take a step back and become more aware of how social media could affect me. Fast forward to 2025 and I still use Instagram like I said, watching videos, connecting with friends, but I've tried to become more aware of how much screen time I'm giving into it. I guess that would be my first tip to anybody navigating social media these days is to just become more aware of what you're consuming. There is so much shit going around on social media, from political stuff obviously going on in the world and people being so easily angered or influenced by that, but also you have misinformation going around constantly. There's some simple things going around like how to exercise, and if you've watched my previous videos, you know how much I care about physical fitness and doing it in a way that's kind of in tune to you as an individual. But there are some quotation influencers out there that are spreading information about exercise that is just not healthy. And don't even get me started about the like Andrew Tate alpha male type mentality and the messages going around about that. Now, obviously, I don't know much about all of that type of stuff, but I do know that that can really screw up a lot of developing young men and really turn them into just dickheads and people that are going to ruin women's lives and just be overall jerks. So I think knowing what is misinformation and doing your own research is also super important navigating these days. And you would think that'd be something as you would get older you would start to understand, but let me tell you, there's a lot of people that don't. But even with misinformation aside, like I said before, social media is so overstimulating to begin with. Even some days when I find myself watching funny videos or gaming videos or whatever I said earlier, I feel like I can get so caught up into it to where I'm watching a video, then I watch another one and another one, and the next thing I know, an hour has passed and I'm like, what am I doing? I think everything in life in general is good in moderation. From eating food to, drinking alcohol or whatever you want to do. I feel like social media also fits into that category of moderation. Too much of a good thing can very easily be a bad thing. So while you might love watching these funny videos and learning about, gaming news or your favorite influencer, you got to be careful of how long you consume it and just how much you're consuming. Now, trust me, I get it. It is way easier said than done. But I think a cool tool and a tactic I've seen some people talk about, which I've also utilized as well, is just like putting a time. If you start at 2 o'clock, watch till 2:30 and just keep your eye on the clock. And once it reaches 2:30, just click off for a bit. Taking breaks in between consuming social media is probably the most effective way in just keeping it in moderation. But overall, I don't want this video to come across that social media is a terrible thing that you should burn and delete forever and stay away from. I am a true believer that social media is more bad than good. However, there are good things that do come from social media. I've been able to keep up with friends that I have not seen in years by sending a couple of videos to each other every now and again because we live in different states, having a good laugh and just talking for a little bit every now and again. And if I am having a bad day, it is nice to sit and watch one of my favorite, Instagram pages with cool anime pictures or gaming news or whatever it may be. And sometimes it's just a nice little like cigar on the back porch moment. But I will say, if you do find yourself getting too consumed by social media, I would just say take a break. Many, many times I've taken the tactic of deleting a piece of social media for a couple of days, a couple of weeks, or even months, and just not partaking in any of that. Eventually you'll find that overstimulation kind of subside, and when you do come back to it, you kind of feel a little bit more in control of how much you're using it. Once you get that control back after taking a break, I feel like the biggest message that you start to see and understand is that social media was not designed to run our life. We were meant to run social media. But overall, as I've gotten older, I think this understanding of social media has helped me at least to just be able to take back control over my consumption of media and just find the beauty in taking breaks from it and also the beauty in using it. To me, social media is purely a marketing tool, but also a way to connect with old friends. But it's no different than watching TV or playing a video game. It's just something that we consume on our downtime, and that's really all it should be. I would love to hear anybody else's experience with social media as well and how it's similar or different than what I've experienced. I've known a lot of people that have cut it off from their lives as well. So if you have cut it off completely, would love to see the impact it's had for you as well. Once again, though, I appreciate everybody sticking around in the Free Think Dojo with me today. Feel free to subscribe to the channel. I'm really trying to put out just more content in general, so be on the lookout for that. Like the video. Feel free to, once again, to comment down below, and I will talk to you guys later.